Temporary Australians is proudly brought to you by Harley Davidson Australia, Fraser Motorcycles, Brotherhood CMC, Victory Motorcycles, the Australian Motorcycle Expo, Austrikes, and Think Right.
Well, hello and welcome to Temporary Australians. I'm Jonesy.
And I'm Hirsty.
What an action-packed show. You were down for the 110th anniversary of Harley Davidson.
Mate, it was a great event and a lot of people and an amazing setup in a shipyard.
It's funny because I didn't go.
No, well, we didn't miss you. I'm sorry, mate, but it was fun anyway.
Don't hold back, Greg. Also coming up on the show,
we find out what happened at the Harley 110 in Melbourne. Jonesy checks out the Blue Knights. Triple J's father Bob explains why he supports Motivate. We catch up with Live to Ride's Crossy and find out what he does with his camera. The question of judging a book by its cover comes up. We ask the question, where is Norm Fraser? We discover Jonesy's real home and we join the Thunder Run at this year's 110-year celebration in Williamstown. We're in Williamstown on the bay, just around from Melbourne. And you can see that lots of bikers have turned up for the 110-year Harley Davidson celebration. It's down in Melbourne and down in Williamstown. It's right on the water. What better venue could there be for all these bikers to get together?
It's been a fantastic weekend so far. We've had probably about 2,500 people come in through the gate, expecting more to see Jimmy Barnes playing tonight. So overall, it's been pretty darn good.
So what else you got planned for the weekend?
Mate, we've got heaps happening this weekend. We've had Matt Mingay out there doing his mad stunts on the Harley Sportster. We've had show and shine in the big hall here today. We've had some custom cars and muscle cars and hot rods out there today out on the wharf, which has been great. We got the dyno simulator where people can drag race each other on a couple of night rod specials. We got the custom 1HD truck there with all the accessories and everything that's on display, which is beautiful truck. We've got the jump starts, so people who novice sort of riders can jump on a bike and just feel what it's like to ride a Harley. We got the big expo tent there with beer trims and boot shines and all sorts of stuff happening there. So there's plenty going on. It's like a real carnival event here this weekend. And on top of that, we've had test rides, so people can test ride the new models. It's just been a great weekend all round.
One of the impressive parts of it is the museum that you've got here.
Yes, it's very nice touch.
We had a major museum at the 100th. But obviously that scale was hard to achieve, so we wanted to personalise it and make it more Australian. So over the last 3-4 months we've put together this, fairly good Australian content in it, all Australian bikes, and a good cross-section of decades and so forth of the models over the years.
Now, other things that have really impressed me is the show and shine and the tattoo cop. So let's start with the show and shine. Were you surprised how popular that was?
Yeah, look, the hall was full. I mean, we couldn't fit any more bikes in. It was great, wasn't it? Some beautiful bikes and the customisation. And look, that's what Harley's all about. It's that whole customisation and just, the personal touch. It's your own piece of artwork.
Well, it certainly seems to be what people do, isn't it? They were very proud to show off their bike.
Yeah, and I guess that's sort of the tie in there where you said the tattoo show as well. It's about that whole sort of ink feel and doing something that's a little different from someone else, and that's exactly what our brand's about.
Now, Matt Mingay, tell us what you think about his road riding skills. You reckon he'd get arrested if he was doing that out in the street?
Yeah, look, I've been riding with Matt out in the street, and he's a great rider. He certainly doesn't carry out those stunts out in the middle of the street. It's obviously, he's contained in what he does, and he's a great performer, you know what I mean? His skill set in how he rides is second to none. The crowds that you've seen have just been, 10 deep all the way around the barricades and cheering him on, and lots of tyre smoke and wheel stands, and he just loves it, it's great.
You ask all them people watching Jimmy Barnes last night how good it was fantastic, like I saw a lot of people with big smiles on their faces and singing, having a great time. I mean, it's an unreal event.
But even to be on the wharf and overlooking the city skyline and having the fantastic weather, which we don't normally get in Melbourne.
I'm really glad I'm here, meet best people and have a great night, have a great weekend. It's just been fantastic. It's a great event.
This weekend, you've also got the Thunder Ride happening too. You expecting that to be big?
Yeah, that'll be huge. So it's been a lot of coordination. Logistically, it's always a big one to set up. Obviously police escorted. Yeah, look, it's hard to estimate the numbers. It could be anywhere between 1,000 bikes and 2,000 motorcycles. So it should be a good ride. We're looking forward to it.
Police ride motorcycles too, and police have their own social motorcycle clubs, and none more than the Blue Knights. Anthor is the president of the Blue Knights. Hello, Anthor.
Hi, how you doing?
So, Blue Knights, how did that all start?
Look, here in Australia, it started in 1978 with a chapter establishing from the New South Wales Police, and essentially we've been here ever since.
And it's worldwide, isn't it?
Yeah, look, the Blue Knights is actually the largest law enforcement motorcycle club in the world. It has members throughout every single country just about, mainly based in America and Europe. And we've actually now have 3 chapters here in Australia and a chapter in New Zealand.
So how many people do you think are in the club?
In Australia at the present time there's about 250. In New Zealand there's about 100, and worldwide there's about 21,000.
I'm impressed with your sewing skills here. Do you do that yourself?
Mate, I try to do some of it, but I'm not very good sewer, but I have a few people that I can call into.
So you don't break out the faff at home?
Well, I'll try not to. And it usually leads to a blooding of some sort.
When you're wearing the Blue Knights patch and other police see you, does that mean like you can get away with stuff?
Look, we're like everybody else. You don't get away with anything, anywhere, for anything. All they do is they just recognise the fact that you're one of them, I suppose. So, it's still part of that policing family.
Do you get pulled up with the patch on?
Sure. Yeah.
But just to say hello.
A lot of the time it's actually pull up and say, hey, how do we become members of you guys?
And how do you become members?
Well, look, there is a pretty specific criterion for this. To become a Blue Knight, you actually have to have arrest powers under a Commonwealth or state legislation. So in Australia, that means that you have to belong to one of the law enforcement agencies that does have that. I actually am not a police officer. I'm actually a Customs and Border Protection officer. But we have a lot of people that are in similar circumstances and live around. The majority of our membership are police, but we have everybody. New South Wales, Victorian, Australian Federal Police, Western Australian, you name it, we have them.
Don't worry about it, mate. I don't even have a licence. Just don't tell anyone, okay?
Well, as long as you're not riding. Well, if you're riding in the bunch of this, I think you're going to give me notice.
No, I'm just joking. It's my bike that's not registered.
My own life story, my teenage experience wasn't a great one. Kicked out of 2 high schools, attempted suicide when I was 18, and I had a guy come alongside of me, a youth minister, a professional rock climber, who used analogies from rock climbing to help me back in life. So Motivate has been birthed out of my experience with working with teenagers in high schools, and I was the chaplain with MotoGP and the World Superbikes for 4 years, and my experience doing that led me to develop some seminars and come up with this alternative way of learning and teaching boys how to stay on track in life. And Father Bob has come on board and helped me out with an amazing van that allows me to travel all over Australia to the schools.
You've seen him in action. What sort of impact do you think he has on young people?
Yeah, but magnificent, because he goes with them. He's not talking down to them. He has a conversation with them, because they've got all the knowledge in the world, but they're lacking in one ingredient, which is wisdom. And McMahon and his lot can help them to discover wisdom.
What sort of reaction are you getting from young people who are at that sort of critical point where they're just questioning life and what it means?
Well, there's a couple of reactions. The first reaction is when they come in through the doors of the classroom and see the race bike sitting in front of them, they go nuts. Then we show them video footage of me racing and riding and that sort of thing, and that grabs their attention again. So I work on this principle of inspire, inform, and then instruct. So if I haven't inspired them with my own story, then I don't deserve the right to instruct them about anything.
Now, the last question is, when are you taking Father Bob for a ride?
Well, I offered to take him for a ride. The best we've had is we've had him on the bike sitting, getting a photo, which I'll send you a photo of. But I would have to get something like a nice trike and take him for a ride in the back of the trike.
You go to a lot of the bike shows around and you'll see the occasional biker with a Live to Ride t-shirt just sneaking around taking pictures of bikes and people. I've caught up with one of them. This is Brett Cross from Live to Ride. Now tell us, what do you do? I mean, you're walking around with this thing just about every time I see you. What's your job?
Well, I'm officially the National Advertising Manager, so I'm responsible for the ads in the magazine. But occasionally I get out and do some photos for the magazine as well. There's some photo shoots with the girls in the magazine. Cover the shows, club rides, things like that. A little bit of everything, a little bit of riding as well.
You've been doing it for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been working for the magazine for 9 years. Well, 9.5 years if you count it like that. So it's been a good run. I love the job. It's really good. You get out with the people all the time, muck around and see the bikes, and just my life. I love it.
Now tell us about your riding history, mate. How long have you been on bikes?
I've been riding since I was about 11 years old. I started on dirt bikes, rode motocross for a while. Then I bought a bike for the road in 1979. I was 16, 9 months, I think. And I've had a bike ever since.
What do you got at the moment?
Harley Fat Boy, 2005 model. A white one.
So that makes it easier to spot, does it?
Yeah, the coppers don't pull over white bikes. It's much better that way.
You know, one of the great joys of life is going on a mass motorcycle ride. Here at the 110th anniversary of Harley Davidson, there's a couple of thousand bikes that are going to go for a spin outside of Melbourne. It should be great fun. The trouble for a lot of people outside the bike scene is that they don't understand the motorcycle culture. So when they see a lot of bikes riding together, they often draw the wrong conclusions. And they draw those conclusions based on prejudice. Prejudice born out of the law enforcement agencies and the media that have shown motorcycling as a community in a very bad light. But what you see at this sort of event is people who just love to ride and love to be together. Now this prejudice is no more evident than for those clubs that wear back patches. In Australia, the motorcycle culture has not only 1% clubs that wear back patches, but police motorcycle groups, Christian clubs, touring clubs, military clubs, that sort of stuff. And you'll also find social clubs that are wearing back patches as well. In Sydney, where I come from, there's a lot of hotels where if you're wearing colours of any description, even if you're in a police motorcycle club, you can't gain entry. And those sorts of laws tend to be made on the basis of a prejudice. Now, that prejudice is so strong in the general community that in America, I have it on good authority, that law enforcement motorcycle clubs that wear a three-piece back patch are treated with suspicion, even though they're serving police officers. Now, when you're dealing with policemen who may be wearing a cultural back patch, and even they have the people in authority questioning their intentions and their motives and their behaviour just because of what they wear, what chance has the rest of the motorcycle culture got? When Fraser's first started, they were just in a small corner of this building. Now they've taken over 3 other buildings, and look how big it is. Now, the origins of Fraser's from Newcastle area, aren't they? And it was Warren's dad, I believe.
Yeah, Warren's father, Norm, started a business in about 1955, mate. And when Warren was born, and it's gone from strength to strength for there, they come in, they got the Harley, they sold Harleys from probably about 1976. But they took over the importation and distributorship for New South Wales, ACT and Western Australia in about 1984.
Now we're standing in the actual premises that Fraser's began in Newcastle. Well, not really. That wasn't where Norm Fraser started.
No, that's right. He started in, I believe, 1955 in a shed in his backyard, and he sold just about, you name it, the sort of motorcycle, and he sold it at some point through to his son Warren, who now runs the business. He then moved after a few years when it started to become a real going concern. He moved here to basically these premises, which have changed quite a lot since. Moved here to open up a proper shop one.
57 years is a long time now. It's spread from just this little corner here to 3 other buildings. It's quite an amazing complex now.
As it is now, we sell 4 brands here at the moment. and just one of 5 stores in the group at the moment. In his working life, Warren's done everything in the business, and actually, I believe, did an apprenticeship here through Fraser's Newcastle. That was when his dad was in control of the company.
So what's the dad doing these days? I mean, Norm Fraser as a name is, 57 years. It's a long time to be in the motorcycle industry. Is he still active in any way?
Warren now owns the business outright, and Norm still lives in the region, but he doesn't have anything to do with the business at all, and to the point I actually don't really know that I've met the man as it stands right now.
So he really could have come in here and sussed you out and you'd have no idea.
He very well could have come in here and sussed me out and I'd have no idea who he was, that's right.
So how long have you been coming to Carabao Motorcycles, mate?
I bought a GS 750 off Steve when I was 19 years of age in 1987, and I've been coming here ever since.
So he obviously has either got used to you or he likes you.
I think it's a mixture, actually. I think it's a mixture. We should go and meet him.
How long have you had association with this fella from Temporary Australians?
Well, pretty much known Jonesy since he was first came in the shop when he was about 17. He was a brash young man with very good manners at the time, I can remember. And I can even remember talking to him about what he was going to do after he finished school. And he said, "Steve, I'm going to be a DJ." And I said, "Well, that's an ambitious career there, Jonesy, but give it your best shot. And I'm sure with your personality that you've got, that you'll make a go of it."
I come down here on a Saturday and just tinker away on bikes, and Steve, the owner, is happy enough to let me do that. But I think he does it just for entertainment value. I think I make him laugh.
Well, I don't know how much he's picked up the mechanical side of it. He's in and out of here every second or third Saturday working on one of his bikes. So he's probably picked up a bit from all the boys here, I guess, over that period of time.
We can't get him to shut up, mate. Do you have the same problem when he was 17?
Yeah, if I can remember, he was very verbose. He was pretty hard to shut up, and he was hanging around quite a bit at the time. They don't call him the mouth from the south for nothing.
This is the Thunder Run, the start of the 110-year celebration of Harley Davidson in Melbourne in Australia. You can tell by the sounds of the bikes why they call it the Thunder Run, but you think one bike's the noisy, just wait till you hear several thousand. Adam, big turnout this morning.
It's huge, sun's out, weather's warm, should be a good ride.
The thing about Melbourne motorcyclists is they just love to do stuff, and you see they turned up in big numbers today. Were you surprised?
Not really. I mean, it's a motorcycle-friendly community, Melbourne. There's tons of bikes down here, and you've seen the old 1914 from David Reedy's collection that's going to lead the ride. So, yeah, no, it's not surprising. We expected a big turnout today, and I'd say it could be up to 2,000 motorcycles on this run, so it's going to be fantastic.
Well, it looks like you got the support of the local constabulary too. They've been helpful?
Yeah, they've been great. I mean, they always are. They're willing to help, and obviously we've got them on the Harley police bikes, so they really enjoy that part of it as well. They're as pumped and as excited as we are.
We started at Williamstown and we went down to the first Esplanade and along the foreshores there, and then went back up Victoria Street, which is a beautiful street in Williamstown. All the locals think that's their favourite street in Williamstown. And then through some industrial area, and then back down to Altona and along the Esplanade down there, some more waterfrontage, and then back looping around the same route that we followed back through, and down the Strand at Williamstown, along waterfront as well, and then we ended right out the front of Seaworks.
I did notice at the marshalling area there are a lot of hog chapters represented there. Have you been pleased with the support you got from them?
Oh, definitely. There would have been over 2,000 people on that ride, 2,000 riders, and I would say members from all over Australia. I was looking at the flags, and there was guys from Darwin, there was guys from Perth, Cairns, Geelong, Brunswick. We have got 50 chapters in Australia and New Zealand, and a majority of them were represented today.
You guys have been speaking as if the Thunder Run is a fairly regular event. How often do you have them?
When they have state rallies, they have a Thunder Run. When they have national rallies, they have a Thunder Run. It's almost a tradition of hog. So, and everybody gets on board it. They all enjoy it. If you do one thing out of a whole weekend rally, the Thunder Run will probably be it.
So, does that mean I have to wait another 110 years for the 110th anniversary of...
Math's never been your strong suit, has it, Jonesy?
No, it hasn't, and it's sad. Until next week, shiny side up, and we'll catch you on Temporary Australians.
See ya.